Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to SVA's virtual open house. We are really honored to have all of you join us this evening. My name is Mona Nazar. I'm actually the school's principal here at SVA. And joining me tonight is Lena, SVA's vice principal. Inshallah, we're going to be going over a little about our school. Our agenda is we'll talk about who our board of our directors are, our administration. We'll talk about our program overviews, Project GLAD, which stands for Guided Language Acquisition Design. It is really what we believe makes SVA really special, how we teach students. We will talk about some of our events that we do at the school, campus overview, registration and tuition for this upcoming 2022-23 academic year. I will briefly go over our COVID protocols. Inshallah, by next year, hopefully we'll be out of this, but you never know. So I always like to inform parents what we do here at the school. And then, of course, we'll answer any questions you might have. So SVA does have a board of directors that helps oversee its school to make sure we stay on track and, just to help with the school's big vision and mission. Currently, our board of directors consists of 4 individuals. Our president is Ziba Haq. We have Imran Shafi, Denise Dogrur, and Rashid Hussein. All of them have been parents here at SVA, our current parents at SVA. One of them actually was a former teacher at our school. And we are very blessed to have them part of our, as a board of directors, to help myself, Lena, the teachers, and all of us as a community really achieve the dreams and the vision and the mission statement of our school. For administration, like I mentioned earlier, I am the principal here at the school. I have been blessed to be part of SVA for the past 17 years. I have no idea where the time has gone. I feel like it was just yesterday when I started. I remember joining SVA 17 years ago as a middle school teacher. And then shortly after, I found myself in the administrative position. Although you do find me every once in a while back in the classrooms teaching because I absolutely love students. And alhamdulillah, middle school really is my favorite age, but don't tell the other students. I do love them all, but I don't know, something about middle school students that I really enjoy. Lena is our vice principal and pre-K director. I remember her and I both started teaching at SVA 17 years ago, though she was actually part of SVA before that as a parent. So she's really been with the school. Lena, how long would you say, past 24 or so years?
Yeah, I started in 98 when my kids joined the school and preschool.
Yeah, subhanAllah. And for those of you who don't know much about SVA, I forgot to mention, SVA has been around for the past 26 years. Alhamdulillah, this year we're celebrating our 26th academic year. This is actually our first year on this current campus where we're at 195 Leota Avenue. Before we were on another campus for 25 years, also in Sunnyvale, 10 minutes away. And alhamdulillah, we were blessed to be able to expand onto our new campus. And so we're looking forward to the next upcoming academic year and celebrating 27 years. Some other members of our administrative team are Ramona Gonzalez. She is the director of academic instruction. She has been with the school for the past, I believe, 19 years as well. Her daughters attended our school. She's been with us as a teacher and of course as a GLAD national trainer with myself and Lena as well, which Lena will talk a little bit what that is. And Mona currently also teaches 4th and 5th grade as well. We are also blessed to have Azza Azzuddin. She is our academic dean and who also happens to be one of our kindergarten, 1st grade multi-level classroom teachers. She has been with the school for the past 15 years. Her children have attended SVA and we're very blessed to have her. Sonia Lejmi is our Arabic Quran and Islamic Arabic Quran curriculum developer. She actually started with the school right when the school opened up 26 years ago. She does an amazing job helping the school achieve its goals with Arabic and Quran and developing it so that we can see as much student success as possible. Sister Sonia does have her ijazah and Quran recitation, so she also helps us in that department. Let's see. Aisha Iqbal is a new member of our staff. She joined us this year as our office assistant and business coordinator. So for those of you who, inshallah, are interested in enrolling your children in our school, you will be talking with her and she will guide you through the registration process, inshallah. So first and foremost, I really believe SVA it's like a family, and we really try to create that environment where that when you send your children to our school, you feel welcome, your children feel welcomed, and that we create an environment where they are comfortable and at ease to learn and open to learning. Our mission really is to respect, foster, and value every child's cognitive development, cultural diversity, social, physical, and emotional growth by providing a safe and nurturing learning environment. This is really important to us as a school. I tell my teachers that first and foremost, you have to have a beautiful smile on your face every morning when you greet the students. It really does set the tone for this school. When we as educators welcome our students with open arms and they feel that we care about them, they're more relaxed to learn in an environment. And then, of course, we provide strategies to help with that cognitive development that Lena will go over in momentarily, inshallah, so that they can learn. And then we get them excited to learn so that they become lifelong learners, inshallah. And that's part of our vision, which is to develop children's love of learning so they become lifelong learners and conscientious contributing members of society. We want to make sure as an Islamic school that when we educate our students, we're not just teaching them in a bubble. Yes, it's beautiful sending our children to an Islamic school because we do try to provide that safe, nurturing Islamic environment so they're not exposed to as much as they would have been in the public school system, listening to certain language or being around certain things that you maybe as parents you don't think are appropriate. However, we don't also want to shelter them to the point where they do not know how to interact with the outside world. So we really want to make sure that our students, when they leave our school, they know how to interact with others, respectful towards others, and they contribute towards society, inshallah, in the future. I remember one of my first students that I taught, maybe my second or third year teaching. She's currently serving on one of the boards of education over in San Jose. So it's really beautiful to see your former students now actively working in the community, running campaigns and serving on different boards. So this is what we'd love to see, inshallah, your children do one day. We do offer 4 different types of programs here at our school. We have a pre-kindergarten program, an elementary school program, middle school program, and on some years, which I'll talk about momentarily, we have an accelerated high school program. Now for our pre-K elementary and middle school, our normal hours are 8:30 to 3 o'clock, 5 days a week. We do not have half days. I know some schools do half days. All of our days are full days, with the exception of Ramadan schedule. During Ramadan, we do end our day slightly earlier at 1:45, but for a normal day, it's always 8:30 to 3 o'clock. For pre-K, what we do require in order to join our pre-kindergarten program is that your child is at least 2.5 years old when they register, and they must be fully potty trained. This is really important for us, that your child does know how to use the restroom, clean themselves, ask to use the restroom. If you're interested in joining our pre-kindergarten program, you have an option of either joining us as a full day student, which is the normal hours of 8:30 to 3 o'clock, or as a half day student, which is from 8:30 to 11:30. But once again, they are 5 days a week. Some parents do ask me, can I send my child 3 days a week, twice a week? We are a 5-day-a-week program. Our elementary school is kindergarten through 5th grade. Now, based upon California state law, in order to join kindergarten, you must turn 5 on or before September 1st. Now, SVA had held to that policy and was adhering to that policy for many years. However, last year, the board decided to go ahead and adjust that policy. So we are now accepting students into our kindergarten program if they were born on or before October 1st. So if you have a child who's going to be turning 5 this year, in 2022, they need to turn 5 on or before October 1st in order to join our kindergarten program. You do need to realize, though, that if you do decide and your child falls within the October 1st, they're born after September 1st, so between September 2nd and October 1st. As a private school, we are allowed to accept them. However, if in the future you ever want to go ahead and move on to a public school, do know that some public schools do not accept an early admission, meaning the age. So you would have to work with that public school to see, will they indeed accept your child who started kindergarten, that parents whose child does fall within that September 2nd to October 1st birth date, that they sign understanding that there's always a risk if they want to move on to a public school that they may or may not honor that early start to the school year. Now, with our kindergarten through 5th grade classes, we do offer multi-level classes. Multi-level means we have 2 kindergarten 1st grade classes where you have kindergarten 1st grade class A, kindergarten 1st grade class B, where we purposely have students from both kinder and 1st graders working together in the same class for the next 2 years. You'll see a lot of mentorship where the older students learn and mentor the younger students. The younger students look up to the older students in the classroom, and they actually learn and watch the behavior of the older ones, and it really helps them. You also see students who need a little bit extra support, or those who are a little bit more advanced, being able to access a lot of the academic information that they need. And then I know Lena will go over a little bit more as she talks about GLAD and how we teach a lot of the benefits of these multi-level classes, inshallah. In our middle school, our 6th and 7th grade class is a multi-level class. Our 8th grade is not. It is a class all on its own. Now, some years we do offer an accelerated high school program. So if you were a middle school student at SVA for all 3 years, and you performed well academically, socially, and emotionally, you're mature and ready to move on. Depending on our staffing resources for that year, we offer a 1-year independent accelerated high school program where your child will do both 9th and 10th grade in one academic year. So 9th grade first semester of the year, 10th grade the second semester of the year. And then by the March, so we're getting into now our 10th grade year, which is second semester. During springtime, which is about in March, March time, they will go ahead and take the California High School Proficiency Exam. If they pass it, they will then go ahead and earn themselves an equivalent to a high school diploma, so that they may start college the following year as freshmen. Do keep in mind, this program is not geared towards everybody, nor is it appropriate for everyone, but we do offer it. This year, we currently do not offer an accelerated high school program. However, last year, we did have 5 students who graduated with us, and they're attending currently college. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our pre-kindergarten program. So our pre-kindergarten program, we really want to make sure that we always provide our students, a very loving and nurturing environment. We do have students who end up staying with us for 3 years just because their birthday does not align with them being able to start kindergarten. If we're blessed to have your child with us for 3 years, we want to make sure that your child does not repeat any of the same information or the themes. Therefore, we have created a 3-year integrated thematic unit rotation so that every year, if your child happens to be with us for 3 years, they'll have a different unit or different monthly theme that they're going to be experiencing with our pre-kindergarten teachers. We want to make sure that we always provide our students with lots of hands-on activities, and these hands-on activities relate to their monthly themes. And we do incorporate lots of hand and body movements, singing, learning, and we also do teach them a little bit of Quran, Arabic, and Islamic studies. To give you a little bit of example of some pre-kindergarten thematic themes, like I said, these will change every year. It's on a 3-year rotation. Some of the things your student, if you're in pre-kindergarten or wanting to enroll your child in our pre-kindergarten program, is they'll learn, let's say in September, social interactions. Then they'll have units on the human body, community, rainforest, transportation, and so forth. Every time we teach, we want to always make sure we have lots of hands-on activities, so the students really get that learning and it helps them out, inshallah. Many parents ask us, what does a day in the life of a pre-kindergarten look like here at our school? To give you an example of their daily schedule, and in order to give those students like a nice routine, the expectations, even though our class doesn't start until 8:30 in the morning, you may drop off your child starting at 8 a.m. So we do take our students starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. This is when the drop-off begins. Between 8 and 8:25 is drop-off, and we'll have fine motor skill activities on the tables for the kids to play with as all of the students are trickling in. Then they'll clean up and we'll move on to our music and movement time. So the kids get to kind of like what I like to call boogie in the morning. I love joining them during that time period. It's so much fun. So anytime I'm by pre-K and they're having their music and movement, I try to be in that classroom as much as possible. They will then move on to their first circle time of the day. This is where they'll start it off by singing songs and their Assalamu Alaikum song, talking about the calendar, the days of the week, the months, and so forth. They'll have a student be a meteorologist of the day, go ahead, taking a look at the weather forecast and reporting to their classmates. Next, they will do their circle time. This is where they will be talking about their monthly units. So let's say if they're learning about matter, they'll talk about what are some of the 3 states of matter. They'll do some pictorials, little charts on it. They'll sing songs about it and so forth. Also, during this first circle time, we will introduce the pre-K students to the ABCs. I do want to note that we do not teach pre-K students to read and write. That is actually a kindergarten standard. However, they'll simply be introduced to the ABCs, what the letter looks like, and words that start with those letters. Next, they'll have some free time followed by a hands-on activity. This hands-on activity is related directly to their first circle time. So if they're, let's say, learning about the 3 states of matter, they might do a little experiment about that. If they're learning about transportation, maybe they'll do some kind of craft regarding a different mode of transportation. Afterwards, they have specific time designated for bathroom. Now, do keep in mind that if your child needs to use the restroom at any other moment, they simply have to tell the teacher they need to use the restroom. But we do have bathroom breaks integrated directly into the schedule. And we have currently 2 pre-K classes with the possibility of opening up a 3rd one. In one of our pre-K classes, there is actually a restroom located inside, 2 restrooms. For the other pre-K class, they use the restrooms in the hallway. I do want you to know that anytime a pre-K class is inside the restroom, no other students are allowed inside due to licensing. So pre-K always has to be on its own. They do not interact, nor do they mix with any other classes. After bathroom, we do have snacks. Snack is provided by the school. We do have a snack calendar up on the walls as per licensing regulations. If your child has any allergy whatsoever, you simply need to let us know. They will then go out to outdoor recess time, come back in for story time and their second circle time. The second circle time is their Arabic, Quran, and Islamic studies circle time. So during this time, the students will learn and memorize different surahs. They'll learn some stories of the prophets. They will learn different du'as to say, such as what do you say when you eat, when you go outside, when you're riding a car. And then they'll be introduced to basic Arabic. So they'll be introduced to the alif ba ta. Once again, we do not teach them to read and write in Arabic. That starts in kindergarten, but they'll be introduced to the alif ba ta, names of shapes and colors in Arabic as well. After that, there will be a second hands-on activity. This one relates directly to their Arabic, Quran, and Islamic studies circle time. Now, if you happen to be a half-day student, you'll be going home by then. If not, you're going to continue with us to, once again, bathroom, lunch. Lunch is provided by parents. So we provide snack. Parents will be providing their lunch, followed by outdoor recess, bathroom once again, story time. We do based upon licensing, we do offer a rest or nap time. Now, we do recognize not all students nap, though we do have quite a few who do. For those students who don't nap, we tell them this is their time for their bodies to relax and nap and rest. Sometimes the teachers allow them to read something quietly because we do have napping students in our pre-K classes. And then honestly, after that, they really wake up, they play a little bit, story time, and then it's pickup. Now, for parents who are not able to pick up their child between 3 and 3:15, that is our pickup window. We do offer extended care 5 days a week until 5:30 at an additional cost. And that runs at an hourly rate, about $10 an hour with advance notice. So right now I'm gonna pause. Lena, I'll have you take over.
Right. Thank you, Mona. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. It's nice to have all of you here. And just for the people who have any questions, please continue adding them to the chat. Inshallah, we'll answer them toward the end. In regard to the slide that we have here, it talks about guided language acquisition design. And this is basically the official educational model that SVA implements. Project GLAD has received, alhamdulillah, lots of awards. It was declared by the US Department of Education as a program of academic excellence. It was declared by the California Department of Education exemplary program and model reform program for the California School Reform Design. SVA is a proud Be GLAD core school site with certified agency trainers on campus. There is, as Mona mentioned before, there are 3 of us, myself, Principal Mona, and one of our teacher and academic dean, Ramona Gonzalez. What we do is actually we got certified in that educational model where we get to actually go and train other teachers in other schools, other districts, sometimes in California, sometimes out of the state. We sometimes get requests to have teachers from other schools come to our school and observe. And alhamdulillah, we're happy to say that we have a high level of implementation. We are an all GLAD school from preschool through 8th grade. And when other schools get the training and maybe they have a GLAD trainer, maybe visit them once or twice a year, alhamdulillah, we provide constant support for our teachers on a daily basis to make sure that after they receive their initial GLAD training, that we are there to, give them observation, give them feedback, model the strategies to make sure that our students are benefiting from that model and learning and achieving their highest potential. Now, the instructional model is firmly rooted in language acquisition and brain development that is research-based and field-tested for over 30 years. This is why we're confident in that program and we continue to implement it. It actually provides organizational structure, integrated thematic subjects, and a balanced approach toward learning. What does that mean? It means it provides that differentiated learning or differentiated strategies to integrate instruction in English and grade level content in a heterogeneous group setting. It also helps develop the academic English, building the vocabulary and linguistic structures that students must use to participate in content-rich discourse. And all strategies include built-in opportunities for differentiated instruction, so teachers can meet the needs of all students using the zones of proximal development and heterogeneous grouping. And let's talk a little bit about our academic standards. Now, we get that a lot because people kind of get confused a little bit when we say, we are using the GLAD model. They say, what do you teach in the GLAD? Well, GLAD model, these are just strategies, how we teach. But what we teach California state standards, the Common Core standards, the next generation science standards. Utilizing the strategies that are in the GLAD model, we integrate the language arts into the science unit and social study units. Integration of what? We integrate the listening, speaking, reading, and writing into all content areas. And then the interrelation of science, social studies, and literature with each other. And all that underscores and make evident the research that language is actually acquired most effectively when the emphasis is on the meaning and the message. We do also a lot of gradual release of responsibility. This is key in learning because the goal of gradual release of responsibility framework is to provide appropriate instruction and moving students toward independence. We don't want them to always rely on us as teachers. Our GLAD model structures and scaffolds these instructions with an intention and deliberate gradual release of responsibility to ensure success for all levels. What teachers do, we scaffold students' reading, we scaffold the writing skills through, first of all, as whole class modeling, then we move to small group, then finally individual practice. So this way our high students will benefit from that practice and get that leadership role in guiding, helping their peers. And the students who kind of struggling, they benefit from this review. So eventually once they're required to do something individually, they get to practice it and they have high level of success toward the end. This is for, the core standards, the core subjects, the science, social studies, math. For math, now it's separate. For math, what we have is we follow the Saxon math program. Now, the Saxon curriculum we've been using for the longest time also, because it's been proven successful over the years. It is a curriculum that has an incremental structure that distributes the content throughout the year in small and approachable progressions. This is why students feel in the beginning of the year that, oh, this is easy, I can do it, or I learned this last year. And a lot of times, alhamdulillah, this will kind of encourage students if they're a little bit worried about math and their math skills, that help them feel, no, I can do it. And these distributed increments build in complexity so that by the end of the year, students have reached deep understanding and fluency. And our students are placed based on their math level, not the grade. Typically, we prefer to start providing this change in the math levels, starting second grade and older, where we see the student, if let's say they could be second graders, but their math level is a third grade math level, or let's say they're fourth graders, but their math level is fifth. We do assessment in the beginning of the year, especially if these are students that are new to us, and to see if their level, they need to be challenged more. Definitely also we would ask parents to approach us If this is something kind of, especially if they're new to our school, we highly recommend that the parents approach us early on in the year and say, you know what, we would like our child to be tested so we can see the proper math level for them. Because, you know, we usually, our students, when they join us, we do not test them. I know some schools follow that policy where they test and take them only if they are at up to a certain level. For us, no, we just test them to see where they're at in math, to provide them the level that kind of is challenging for them and help them get to a higher level where they're not too bored and it's kind of just right for them. Next, we have, you know, other subjects that we care about. The arts. The arts are a very important part in our school. Definitely, there are art activity kind of embedded part of the curriculum, part of this, the you know, regular units that the students are learning about. But beside that, also we have other activities that relates to art, like Art Orbit and Art in Action. Art Orbit started at SVA years ago with a teacher's love for crochet, and it grew from there. Multiple age groups rotate weekly to do art, craft, cooking, and gathering. Unfortunately, because due to the COVID, we were not able to do that in the last couple of years. But inshallah, hopefully in the future, when things get back to normal, we can start doing that, because we benefited a lot. Kids benefited a lot from working with, because you'll have a kindergartner with a second grader, with a fifth grader, where they work together on this art activity. In addition, we have a program called Art in Action that provides an art curriculum and training that empowers students to develop creativity, critical thinking, self-expression, and problem-solving skills. And students learn about works of art from different cultures around the world, how to look at art using, you know, art vocabulary and concepts. And also what's good about the Art in Action, that it's aligned with the National Visual Arts Standards. And they're easily aligned with also the Common Core and other subjects that the students are learning about throughout their week. Last, we're going to talk about here is the emphasis on the process of reaching the final answer. This is key in learning. A lot of times they, you know, did you get the correct answer? Well, it's not about the answer, it's the process. We want to know how you got to that answer. We always ask the student, how do you know? Prove it. We need to allow opportunities also for divergent thinking, questioning, researching, and creating and innovating. These are skills that we need to provide students with this opportunity to start practicing at a very young age. Next, inshallah, on the next slide, we're going to be talking about a little bit more about a GLAD unit. What are the components of a GLAD unit? Typically, a GLAD unit, it could be either a science or social studies, and it's about 4 to 6 weeks long. The first, focus and motivation, input, guided oral practice, reading and writing, extended activities, and the last one is closure and evaluation. Now, for the focus and motivation, these are strategies designed to build background knowledge, motivate students, activate prior knowledge, and enhance academic language. This is when, you know, we want to see as a teacher how much information do the students have about the topic, to make sure I adjust my learning and my lesson plan to make sure students are, you know, engaged in the lesson. It's not something they already know about. So we can enrich the content so it's appealing to the students. Second component is the input. We need to provide, as teachers, comprehensible input strategies that provide them with the core content instruction for students to reach different proficiency level. It has to be comprehensible and understandable. And through the input charts, teachers can create a print-rich environment to ensure students have readily available resources to utilize for reading and writing. Okay. Next component is the guided oral practice. These strategies provide multiple comprehensible output strategies. So this time teachers completed the input. Now we want to hear the students. We want them to provide the output. So these are comprehensible output strategies designed to promote the development of academic language. Because the key is we want the students to practice the language, not us teachers always saying the language to them using the high academic language. We want the students to be able to do so. Next component is the reading and writing. It highlights effective reading and writing strategies that can be taught whole group through teacher modeling, then small group, through cooperative team opportunities to eventually become small group, teacher-led instruction, and independent activities. Then we come toward the end of the unit. We do extended activities. That could be, either PowerPoint presentation, it could be kind of art and craft project. And then we end with closure and evaluation. Closure and evaluation could be maybe field trip related to the topic of study. And evaluation, this is when we're gonna do assessment to see where the student's understanding is. And talking about assessment, it's not always at the end of the unit. We do informal assessment throughout the unit to make sure we follow up with the student's progress to see if we need to do any intervention, any scaffolding, any review, instead of just waiting like most schools do. They wait until the end when it's unit test and you realize the student has no idea what they're learning about. So the informal assessment are embedded part of our kind of regular check-in and strategies to make sure that the students are have a high level of comprehension of the content. Our Arabic, Quran, and Islamic studies. So our Arabic program, it teaches the classical Arabic. It is unit-based with the emphasis on Islamic terminology. We have utilized books, Ta'allam al-Arabiya, to help us practice, to provide this practice for the students, and they practice the key vocabulary and grammar. Now, we do utilize the same strategies that we use for the language arts, social studies, science. So we utilize these strategies also in Arabic. So you'll see, when you see the charts in the class, that has the English content and science, and you also see it in Arabic. But also in addition to that, we have workbooks to help with more practice of the vocabulary. And we sometimes parents ask, okay, what standards do you follow for your Arabic? Even though we have our own program, but we primarily use the ACTFI guideline, which is the Arabic Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages guidelines to teach Arabic and tailor them to our students' needs. And the goal is comprehension, okay? We want to help students understand simple verses of the Quran and Hadith. And in addition, of course, through their Arabic class, you want them eventually to learn some communication skills in case they were in an Arabic environment to simulate kind of like traveling or, being in an Arab country. And as I mentioned, we leverage the GLAD model to integrate grammar in the unit vocabulary words. Our unit are carefully selected with the values of Islam taught in the Quran and Sunnah. So also you see that in our Arabic content. So you'll see us teaching an Arabic unit about, for example, Makarim al-Akhlaq, about cleanliness, nadafa, about Nasa'ih Luqman. All of these are, keeping in mind the Arabic language and our Islam. We also use lots of hands-on activity in the Arabic program. Like one of the examples we have, we designated Arabic food store. This was a couple of years ago, again, before COVID, when we were doing and teaching in a unit about nutrition. We had a country booth for the unit when we were doing a travel unit. And actually we had students who, learned Arabic songs, and we actually had a video clip recorded about cleanliness, and that goes along with our hygiene unit. So alhamdulillah, we try to enrich our students, provide a rich content that's diverse, and provide different modalities in any subjects that we teach. Next, the Quran. For the Quran, the focus is on three things: the meaning, the tajweed, and the memorization. We want to make sure we work with the students on their makharij al-huruf, properly pronouncing, on the meaning, what the surahs are, not only the memorization. So typically, if the students join us in kindergarten, by the time they are in 8th grade, they would have memorized 3 chapters or 3 ajza. As you see here on the presentation, kinder through 3rd, we cover juz number 30. In 4th and 5th, they cover juz 29. And in middle school, they go over juz 28. Regarding Islamic studies, the focus is on the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the love of Allah, mannerism. We provide relevant and real-life connections because Islam is not that 45-minute that is taught. We want them to internalize our Islam and the manners of Islam throughout their daily life. as I was saying, Islam is a way of life, and we started early in the beginning of the day. After students are dropped off at the gym, and before they go to their classes, we would like to have kind of that morning assembly where all students, kindergarten through 8th grade, we are standing in a big, nice circle where we start our day by reciting Surah Al-Fatiha all together, reciting the morning dua, and if there are any announcements. And this is kind of beautiful, kind of like we get together as a family to have a good start of the day. Then it goes to, having our students, as the teachers are greeting them, we ask our teachers, everybody, start with the salam, have a beautiful smile on your face as you're greeting your students every single day. We model the good behavior and mannerism, first of all. And we make sure that also kids, our first unit every year in Islamic studies, it's always about how to make wudu, how to do salat. Every year it's repeated. Some students say, oh, again, the beginning of the year, why? Well, it's good reminder. Every year the kids getting 1 year older, they have different perspective, different understanding, and they get that practice every single year. Now they practice, they memorize the dua before entering the bathroom, after when they make their wudu, the dua before they eat, the dua before they go play outside. So we try to teach them these habits at a like good Islamic practices at a very early age. And then salat, starting at age in second grade and older, they start doing their salat, their dhuhr prayer every day in their classes, in their own. Now we have it in the gym, but one of the students will be their imam. And then on Fridays, we have 2nd through 8th graders. We do Jum'ah prayer, and we have a khatib. It could be sometimes one of our parents, or it could be somebody from the community. We invite them to give khutbah that's age appropriate for our students. Sometimes also we had it where our own students that are in the older, middle schoolers, where they love to, be part of the Jum'ah prayer and give the khutbah. So alhamdulillah, we have a lot of students. We are proud of them and their achievement and how proud they are of giving the khutbah to the rest of the students. A very common question that also a lot of parents ask us about kind of discipline, and they say, what kind of discipline rules do you have at your school? We say, we have three rules, or we call them 3 standards. And this is again part of our GLAD strategies. It is making good decisions, showing respect, solving problems. And we try to make sure that we provide this message in a positive way. We give kids a lot of examples what making this good decision looks like. So if we see a student who is not making a decision, instead of telling them stop running in the hallway, we say make a good decision and walk. And if the student is misbehaving, I say, are we showing respect? How can we show respect? Or show respect by doing this and this. Again, students sometimes by nature, they might be going to us to help them solve their problems. Teacher, I broke my pencil. What can I do? Well, we say, solve your problem. And when they're younger, we might say, solve your problem and go sharpen it. Eventually, the idea is to let them know, solve your problem, to say, you know what, think and come up with the answer. And who can you ask to support you? So this way they know that they have multiple resources. They can go to their friends, but also they can go to the teacher. But again, in the beginning, we always provide lots and lots of examples and positive reinforcement. And we can praise the students. When we see students who's misbehaving or not following the rules, we go and praise the students who are showing the good ways to solve their problem, who are showing respect, and we praise them. We say, mashallah, look at the students. They're showing respect by doing 1, 2, 3. And this way you notice students who are not making the good decision. You see them because kids, they want to please. And so we benefit from that when they see the positive behavior is being rewarded. You want them now, you encourage them to seek attention instead of a negative way. They want to seek it in a positive way. And by doing so, they're practicing lifelong skills that they needed to be successful in life. And in addition to when students are making the decision, showing respect, solving problems, they could earn what you see the next, what's called literacy reinforcers. And if you look on the screen at the bottom, where you see kind of different colored papers with small pictures and writing under the picture of the children. These are different examples of literacy reinforcer. They're kind of also tied to the content, where let's say it could be a picture about a scientific content with a definition, or it could be social study content with a definition. Kids will earn them when they make when they follow one of the three standards. So this way, at the same time, I'm making sure that the behavior is being modified in a positive way, while at the same time kids are earning knowledge. And in addition, another kind of behavior management strategy, even though GLAD is not a behavior management program, but we do have behavior management strategies. The T-graph and the team point. The T-graph is the one you see on the right side of your screen at the bottom, where you see called responsibility in the center. And then you see different information under the here, other information under the C. So these are kind of when students and the teacher brainstorm different things related to, for example, here, responsibility. And this is when the teacher is guiding the students, guiding their answers to come up with understanding on what do we say in the class to show respect? What do we see in the class to know that the students are being respectful toward each other? So these are all ideas and strategies to help students with their behavior, because now we work a lot in teams. This is kind of a key in our program, where students sit in typically teams of 4, and we change these teams every unit. But we know even as adults, sometimes we don't get along with our team members, but you know what, we're working together, we're assigned together, and we learn, we provide that opportunity for our students at a young age to learn and work with different personalities, different types of learners, and to encourage them and give them incentives. Students can earn team points. So as you see on the top right side, you see kind of students earning team points for not giving the correct answer, but for working together responsibly, or for showing interdependence, or for showing inclusion, whatever topic that the teacher had picked for that the T-graph for that unit. Next, what also we have an outside organization called Soul Shop. And what they do is they help students. It's a program that supports students by giving conflict resolution tools that allow them to support each other as allies. It is designed to give students a deep experience of empathy and connection. Kids, even like in teenage years, they're still developing that empathy. So when we start at a young age, giving them tools how to express their feeling, their frustration, their sadness, their anger, we will help them resolve situation before they occur. And if they do, instead of the kids, let's say, getting upset or angry or acting in a way they're going to regret later, well, we're giving them a way how to express themselves. So we started it elementary and middle school. The last 2 years, we added a preschool, who actually attend different sessions where, we have a representative from Soul Shop who will join and teach them about the iMessage and the cleanup. And you'll see your kids, when they go home, you'll see them utilizing this language at home. And we all encourage parents in the beginning of the year. We provide usually like a parent presentation for the parents to be familiar with this language. So when their child use it at home, you can use it with them too, because it's a tool that you can use anywhere. We use it in school, we use it with our own families. And it is helpful. We've been, working with this outside organization for so many years, because subhanAllah, it's very close with our Islamic values. All right. Thank you. Let's see. Next, we have our SVA and PTO sponsored event. I will turn it to Mona so she can share more information about it.
Thank you, Lena. Thanks for that great presentation. And just so you know, sometimes we could get carried away a little bit talking about strategies. We love it, and we're very passionate about it in general. And if any time, even after this virtual open house, you would like to come to campus and for us to give you a physical tour of the campus, simply email us, call us. We're more than happy to schedule something with you so you can actually see it, inshallah. So besides all this wonderful academics that we offer here at the school, we also try to every month provide an event that brings the community together, whether the community of students, parents, definitely parents pre-COVID, and inshallah, as the COVID, inshallah, God willing, goes away, restrictions lessen, we'll have more parents back on our campus. But we really like to bring a community together. We really truly believe SVA is a family, and we love parental involvement as well. So some of the events that you can see at our school, whether it's this year or in the previous years, are such things as our annual walkathons, Hajj simulation. That's a big hit. And mashallah, I love Hajj simulation. Eid celebrations, Ramadan iftar nights. It's really beautiful. I mean, I remember we were doing it before COVID hit, where during Ramadan we have a nice community iftar on campus. Outdoor movie night. We absolutely love outdoor movie night. Families come, they bring their beach chairs, and we all watch a movie together outside. Fall carnival, God willing, inshallah, if things settle down with COVID, instead of having a fall carnival this year, we're planning on doing an Eid carnival towards May. So inshallah, look out for that as long as the COVID conditions allow it. We also have monthly fun dress up days where students could come dress up as different characters or favorite book characters. Mismatch day. Students love being out of uniform. We do require uniform for our elementary students, and we have dress guidelines for middle school students. So dress up days are fun. Even us as teachers, we love to get involved with our dress up days. We also have International Day, where we try to celebrate the different cultures of the world, whether it's cultures represented at our school. And mashallah, we're very blessed to have a very large, diverse population here at the school, but other cultures even not represented. We have parents come up with tables to talk about those countries. Fundraising gala. So before COVID, we would have an annual big fundraiser gala where every class and all students would be performing on stage. That was also combined with our art exhibit. If you look at the upper middle picture, that's part of our art exhibit and from our fundraising gala right before COVID hit. It's a wonderful night to bring the whole family together, watch your child perform on stage, take a look at their art pieces, and really just be with the community. We also have book fairs, our upcoming book fairs coming up next month, inshallah, sports day, graduation celebration, and we're always open to other events. So when parents have ideas, they want to tell us about it, like, sure, great, propose different ideas, new events, fun events for the school that brings the community together. And when I say community, this is all for all of our students, pre-K through middle school, high school if we have it, parents, and so forth. So let's talk a little bit about our campus overview. Like I mentioned, this is our actual first year at this new campus, and so far, alhamdulillah, we settled in. We're really enjoying our new facility. Our new campus, just like our old one, is located in Sunnyvale. We do rent from St. Cyprian Parish. So many parents, when they come and they actually take a tour of the campus, I tell them, well, when you park on Leota Avenue, you're going to see a church. You're going to go to the right-hand side of the church to get buzzed in. They're like, whoa, you guys are at the church? Yes, we rent from St. Cyprian Parish. They have been great landlords so far. We do have separate operating hours. So when during the school day, 5 days a week, the school belongs to SVA. St. Cyprian does not mingle with us. They have their own weekend time at the school where they do not mingle with our students. So that is something very important for you to understand that. It's a pretty nice large facility, about 34,000 square feet. And the campus is gated and secure. So we open up the gates for cars to allow for drop off during the mornings, and of course at dismissal. However, during the day, we do close the campus, and it is a closed campus for the safety of all students. We are located at a very convenient location. It is next to by the Mountain View border, easy access to Central Expressway, 85, 237. So even for myself, I commute from San Jose. Actually, the new campus, even though it's slightly further than our old one, it's still very easy for me to access it because we're so close to major freeways. So a little bit about the layout of our site. And once again, you're more than welcome to schedule an in-person tour with myself, inshallah, if you'd like to actually see the campus in person. But just to kind of show you what the layout is, you could see this whole facility right here is ours. We do have, there's Leota Avenue, Washington Avenue. Our parents do enter from Washington Avenue. So this is the entrance where they go into the parking lot to drop off their students. Everything in the light green are our classrooms. The blue is our indoor gymnasium. And then we have our offices for administrative offices in the orange, our staff lounge in the red. And then of course we have two large green fields that alhamdulillah we're very blessed to have. This is just an aerial view of the campus. Once again, we are a fully gated campus. It's a single school campus and the church does have separate entrances from the school itself. We are blessed with this new campus to currently have 2 pre-K classrooms, though we do have a license for a 3rd pre-K class. So if our numbers in pre-K increase, inshallah, our goal is to expand to a 3rd classroom, in addition to 10th through 8th grade classrooms as well. The classrooms are nice and large and spacious. We have our staff lounge. We invite parents to hang out with us too as staff members. I think we're kind of fun some days. We do have a full-size kitchen. Our future goal really is to eventually have hot lunch for our students, since we do have access to a full-size kitchen. Considering that this was our first year moving in, that was pushed to the side, but inshallah, future goal is to provide hot lunches for our students. We also are blessed with a beautiful science lab where the students from any grade level, kinder and up, are allowed to come to the science lab to do their science experiments. So here you can see different age groups experimenting in our science lab. This year, we're also working on a makerspace room. So we have on the bottom picture that you see, we have our 8th grade students actually having a presentation to our board of directors where they have been working closely with them on our makerspace, developing our makerspace, ordering all the tools, the machines, any of the materials that our students need moving forward as we really get our makerspace room up and going. Makerspace really is a place where students have it in their schedule, where they get to go into that classroom and they are able to create projects that are student-led based upon their interests. And right now I have some of my middle school students, they're currently working on building a ping pong table. This year, some of our 4th and 5th and 6th, 7th grade students, what they were working on in makerspace is SVA never had a mascot. So they decided, you know, with our new campus, SVA needs a mascot. So they actively worked on coming up with different mascots, campaigning around the whole school to get students and our parents to vote for a mascot. And just about December, right before winter break, we had a huge voting turnout here at school. Everybody voted on which mascot they wanted. And right now we're very blessed to announce that we're currently known as the SVA Saber-Tooth Tiger. So that was wonderful. It was really, really nice to see our students campaign after Jummah prayer. They had to give speeches to try to convince students to vote for their mascot. I do know right now in our makerspace, we are having 4th, 5th, and our 2nd and 3rd grade classes. They're working on a play and they're going to be making their costumes for their play, the set design. So that's something right now that our 2nd, 3rd, 4, 5 are working with our 4th and 5th grade teacher, Mona Gonzalez, in Makerspace. It's up and coming. So if you're a current parent now, just wait to see what your child has in store, inshallah. With this new campus that we're at, we're blessed to have a beautiful indoor gymnasium. We're able to conduct many PE classes in there. We also use the indoor gymnasium as a multi-purpose room. This is where we have our daily Dhuhr prayer. We have our Jummah prayer there, school assemblies, after school activities. If we have sports clubs or different clubs that need to take place, indoor recess. So if it's ever a rainy day, we have a place for our students to enjoy that gymnasium. Also, we conduct parent nights there. Our initial plan was to have our open house in the gymnasium. However, we put a hold on the open house and went virtual instead due to COVID cases that is happening right now. You can see on the bottom, we had a presentation for our kinder 1st grade students, an animal presentation, once again, utilizing that beautiful gymnasium to have that. Oh, and you can see our voting. This was our voting station that we had set up when we were voting for the mascots. In addition to our gymnasium, we have 2 playground structures as well, an elementary playground structure and a pre-K one. We also have outdoor basketball courts and 2 large grass fields that our students have access to enjoy for their recess and PE times. We also have lots of outdoor benches for our students. So with our outdoor benches, we're really able to enjoy our lunch outside, snack outside. We could have classes or activities outside. So it's really having this outdoor space has been very nice and useful for the school, and the students just really enjoy sitting under the trees and sitting on those benches with their friends. And you can see here they're working on some Arabic projects, English, having some hot cocoa, I believe, in one of those pictures. Besides our regular day, we do have after school hours at our school. So I've already mentioned for our pre-K class that we do offer extended care that goes until 5:30. We also have extended care for our kinder through 8th grade students. So if a parent is not able to pick up their child between 3 and 3:15, we do have extended care as well that goes until 5:30. In addition to, and in extended care, they'll do different activities or crafts or games with the teacher. In addition to that, we actually have designated after-school clubs and sports teams. So this year so far, we've had our soccer teams, and we're about to have our basketball season. And I'm really proud that our U14 boys team actually won the championship. We play under the Play United League, and SVA middle school boys, mashallah, they won the championship. They went undefeated this year. So good job, SVA boys. We're really proud of them. Right now, we're about to go into our second semester after school club, where we're offering robotics to our student club, which is set a survey to parents and asking them what are some of their interests. And we try to the best of our ability, accommodate the types of clubs they like to see after school. And in addition to that, of course, we do have basketball season right now. We also offer winter and summer camps. So just this past winter break, we did have a winter camp on our campus. So the winter camp, the first priority went towards SVA students, and we opened up to the community at large. And inshallah, we do plan on offering summer camps for students, inshallah, over the summer. We have partnered with an outside organization, BAMRAC, to help run a lot of our camps and after school clubs. So we do work with them closely. So now we're going to move on a little bit, talk about, inshallah, if you're interested in joining us for this upcoming academic year, we'd be honored for you to join us, have your family become part of our SVA community. Registration for new families opens up on February 22nd. So this is where new families who do not have students or children currently enrolled at SVA can start their registration process. We do have right before that priority registration for our current families, and then February 26th comes around, it's for new families. I do want to let you know that once it is a first come, first serve when it comes to registration. So once a classroom is full, then we will place the remaining students on a wait list. Nobody has registered so far for the upcoming 22-23 academic year, including our current families. They will start their registration priority on February 14th, if I'm not mistaken, offhand. They'll have priority, and then we'll open up to the community at large, inshallah. If you are interested in joining us, you will go to our website. I do want to let you know that we have not updated our website yet for the new registration. It's coming soon, so you'll see the registration for this year. But inshallah, soon you'll see the updates for this upcoming year's registration. You'll go to our website under admissions. You're going to be creating a grade link account where you're going to be registering your child and uploading any required forms based upon grade level. We do have a registration fee of $250 per student, as well as a volunteer fee of $300 per semester per family. We really try to encourage our families to volunteer. We love seeing our families become part of our community. So we ask families to volunteer 15 hours per semester if they can. There are different ways you could volunteer. You could come to campus, help out with different activities, our events. When, inshallah, after COVID, if we want to go back to regular normal field trips with field trip driving and supervision. Also, sometimes teachers have take-home activities to do at home. So you could go ahead and help a teacher, some of their activities. You could take it home, maybe cutting out some things for them. If you fulfill your 15 hours, we do not cash your $300 fee. If you're not able to fulfill the 15 hours per semester, then we do cash the $300. And in addition to that, the only remaining fee for the year is the tuition. The tuition for this upcoming academic year as follows. If you're interested in our pre-K full day program, which is the 8:30 to 3 o'clock, the tuition for the academic year is $13,200. You may pay it in one lump sum or divide to 10 monthly installment payments of $1,320 each. If you're interested in a half-day pre-K program, which is 8:30 to 11:30, the fee is $12,100. If you're interested in enrolling your child in our kindergarten through 5th grade class, the yearly fee is $9,200. For our middle school students, it's $9,600. If you happen to be enrolling more than one child in kindergarten through 8th grade, I do want to make sure you understand that pre-K is not included. If you have more than one child in kinder through 8th grade, there is a 10% sibling discount for that. Unfortunately, there is no discount for our pre-K program. And we want to make sure that we do not, that even if you do not have the financial means, if these numbers like, oh, I can't afford that, we always have tuition assistance available for families. We really pride ourselves that we have such a diverse student population, socioeconomic population. So please, if you need any tuition assistance, reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to help you out. I just really want to talk briefly about COVID. This was part of the slide from last year, but since we're still living during the COVID times, we are in-person instruction. We do follow the California Department of Public Health and Santa Clara County Public Health Department guidelines. I do take them very seriously. I'm actually the COVID-19 designee of the school. Nina is the backup designee. I do attend weekly meetings with the county, and so the Santa Clara Department of Public Health, as well as the County of Education. I'm in continuous meetings, sometimes twice, 3 times during the week, to make sure I'm always up to date regarding COVID guidelines. And I try my best to inform parents. If you go to our website right now, there is a COVID guidebook. I will be honest, it's not up to date. The guidelines are continuously changing, but I'm always in the meetings and I'm always up to date with the information, even if the website currently is not reflecting that. I do take that role very seriously. We do have currently weekly antigen and PCR testing. So I actually test the students weekly using antigen testing. We also offer PCR testing. And so if, God forbid, this continues to next year, we will continue with our COVID guidelines based upon whatever the public health department tells us to do. Inshallah, we will continue to follow that. All right, so I know we've talked a bit. It's been an hour. So right now we'll take some questions. So I believe there's some questions in the chat right now. So let's see, we'll start with the first one. The first question is, do you have after school hours for parents that are both working full time? Yes, our after school hours go until 5:30 from pre-K all the way up to 8th grade. Let's see, is a high school accelerated program open to new students? We usually require that you have attended middle school, all 3 years of middle school at SVA for us to accept you as a potential high school accelerated student. And once again, this program, it really is not designed for all students. It just depends on your academics, social, emotionally, where you're at to see if it's appropriate for you. Are all subjects taught at SVA, English, language arts, math, science, history, art, in addition to Islamic studies? Yes. Besides Islamic studies, we also have a designated Quran and Arabic time during the week. The Arabic is about 3 days a week, Quran twice a week, and Islamic studies twice a week for our schedule. Which elective classes are offered rather than core subject and for extracurricular activities? So we did cover a little bit of the extracurricular activities and clubs. The other non-core subjects will be your arts that we do. So we do have and makerspace time that we also have. And art in general is incorporated throughout the day. How do you conduct guided oral practice with the mass requirement? Lena, this is a great question. Would you like to answer that?
Sure. Students can express their knowledge. It's not always verbally, it could be in writing. So there are multiple ways students can express, and even with masks, like they can still, communicate.
And we still chant our poems and our songs.
Exactly, because the content is given in as pictorials. Sometimes it's given as, like Mona mentioned, poetry. So you see like scientific content or social study content in poetry form. You see it in the standard text format. So students are allowed to chant, They can make up their own poems where, we guide them and teach them how to make their own poem. It could be through presentation. So some kids are good in maybe doing a PowerPoint. They are presenting to their class. It could be a team project, or it could be individual project when they, let's say, learning about different historic, historic people that are, they made a difference, let's say, in history. So they might research and do their presentation.
And in general, the mask, if you're talking about maybe teaching phonics to students, I'm not sure where that question was going. So mask in general does not really stop us from using a lot of our guided oral practice. And guided oral practice is really when the kids are actually practicing the academic language so they can still speak with the mask. However, there's certain times, or especially if you're learning those phonics, whether in Arabic or English, if you need to see the lips and the mouth movement, part of the COVID guidelines from the state is you are allowed to wear a shield. You need to be a little bit further away from the students to remove your mask with the shield, clear shield on, so that the kids can see the movement of the lips to make sure they're properly enunciating those words. So that is one exception to the COVID rules, that a teacher is allowed to remove the mask as long as she has a shield and she steps away from the kids to help with that learning process. All right, Nina, so the next question is going to go for you too, if you don't mind. Okay, so the next question is, if my child is in second, third grade class in 1 year, the next year he'll still be in the same class with new students from first grade who are now in second grade. Won't he learn same material again since the new students who are in second grade haven't learned the material?
Okay, that's very, very good question. So what we do, we alternate the standards taught. So, and let's take that second, third example. So let's say currently we're teaching, let's say, second grade standards. So our second, third grade multi-level. Now, when these second graders move on to third grade, and now the first graders became second, now we're teaching third grade standards. So your second grader who's now third, well, you know what? Now they are exposed to third grade standards. When they move on to the next grade 4-5, well, now we go back and teach second grade standards. So because we alternate, it's not repetition. So we make sure your child is not learning the same standards. Over the 2-year period, the standards of both grade levels are taught. A set of standards the first year, another set of standards the second year. So this way the child is not learning the same thing over and over.
All right, thank you, Lena. So the next question is regarding volunteering, parents volunteering during COVID. So we have had parents volunteer this first semester, even during COVID. If parents wanted to volunteer on campus for specific events that we were able to hold, I did have a requirement that our parents were fully vaccinated, and currently it's going to be fully vaccinated and boosted because that's the new definition of fully vaccinated. So that is if you wanted to be on campus for any of the events. So for example, we had International Day back in November. Any parent who volunteered for that to be on campus did have to be fully vaccinated and show me proof of their vaccination status. But keep in mind, we also have lots of projects where parents could do at home. So maybe they were prepping the boards for the International Day. They did that at home. Maybe they're helping a teacher with prepping some material. They could do that from home. So depending. Now this semester, because we were forced to cancel a couple of events because of COVID, we recognize that not all parents are able to fulfill, even though they wanted to, the full 15 hours. So we're a little bit generous this first semester. If they didn't quite fulfill the 15 hours, we recognize that, and we did not penalize parents because of that. So we are open. And just so you know, last year when we were fully on Zoom, we did not actually require any volunteer hours from our parents because there was no volunteer opportunity. Next question is, how are the school vacation? How are the school and vacation calendars? So we have the normal vacation as any other school. So you will have from Thanksgiving break to President's Day, Martin Luther King off. We do have 2 weeks of winter break, 1 week of spring break. The upcoming calendar is not done yet, but if you're interested to kind of see the type of vacations, you're more than welcome to go to our website. If you go under news and events and scroll down, you'll see our current academic calendar, and it gives you an idea of the types of days off that we have. What is the student to teacher ratio? That's a great question. In our elementary and middle school, it's about 1 teacher to every 20 students, sometimes a little less. In our pre-K classes, we currently have 2 rooms with 5 teachers right now, and it's about 1 to 10, would you say, in pre-K, Lena, the current ratio
Yes.
for pre-K?
Correct.
Yes. And in some classes, they actually have aides who will go into the different rooms, even the elementaries, to help them out. What's the number of students per class? For this year, we actually capped out the classes at 20 per each classroom. Do you have teacher aides to support classroom teaching and students learning during the collaborative? So some classes, yes, some classes, no. Our teachers are trained how to work with the teams and walk around. They're not supposed to just be sitting at the desk. They actively walk around the classrooms and help the teams out. In some classes, we do have aides who are able to go in and provide extra support. Lena, would you like to add anything else to that?
No, that sounds good.
Okay. What has been the teacher retention rate at SVA over the last few years? Great question. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Allah continue that way. Many of our teachers, most of our teachers actually have been at SVA for many years. Like I said, I've been here for 17, Lena 17 longer as a parent. Our K1 our pre-K teachers for over 13 years. Same with our kinder first, second and third, 8 years, 4, 5. 19 years, middle school, 10 years. So alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. So far, our retention has been amazing. Inshallah, will continue that way. Most of the time, if teachers leave, it's because they moved out of the area. They bought a house somewhere, but further, the commute has been long. But we're always looking to recruit more teachers. We love to expand. And so we always say if somebody has some great background and they'll be a great addition to the school, we'll love to see them. How many kinder first grade classes are available? We currently have 2 kindergarten first grade classes, and our expectation is to have the same for the upcoming year. And what is the years of experience teaching K1s? Our teachers are teaching K1 right now. They've had at least 15 years of experience, one of them, the other one about 8 years of experience. Any homework for kindergarten first grade class? Oh, Lena, would you like to talk about homework in general?
Yes, so homework policy for us in general, minimum homework, because we believe learning should be happening in the class. We utilize the homework kind of to reinforce some of the information learned in the class, not as worksheets that are sent and kids just spend busy time on them or parents end up doing them. Specifically for what's consistent actually for all grade levels is the math. This is the kind of, I think, the only daily, I believe starts also first grade, not kinder. Math, yeah, first grade and up, you have math every day. The rest of the classes, they would have, let's say for the unit that they're learning about, once a week, they have something called homeschool connection, where they have learned something in class and they go home and discuss it with their parents. Let's see what else. Quran memorization. This is kind of weekly assignment where students are, when the teacher go over the surah in class, with proper pronunciation, proper tajweed, they practice really well multiple times in class. All they're required is when they go home, they listen to the surah on a website because we want actually them to listen to it through a proper tajweed. And it's going to be like, listen to it 5-10 minutes. Sometimes we ask parents, like in the car when you're driving to or from school, their kids can listen to it. Besides,
really, it's yeah. And
very,
then
very
math, can you explain in the younger grades how many problems we're really talking about for math homework?
Yeah, for first grade, maybe I think 5 questions. In second grade, maybe we have 8. By second grade, 10 questions. By third grade, also 10 questions. And what's good about it is the Saxon math, up to third grade, we have what we call like the worksheet, side A, side B, where side A is taught in the class. Let's say 5 questions, okay? And teachers will go over it step by step, explain it to the students. And what happens, their homework will be side B, which is identical to side A with just different numbers. So students kind of just reviewing that concept. So that same thing, we utilize it from first grade through third grade. Starting 4th grade and older, they have actually a textbook, which is like now this becomes 20, 25 questions, 30 questions. But again, keep in mind, we talked about the Saxon math. It's incremental, and most of the questions are a review from previous concepts. And what I encourage all parents is we can set meetings where we can sit with you and kind of discuss more details, what applies to your grade level, your child, and we can answer any questions that you might have regarding maybe the multi-level. It could be regarding the math. So you have a clear idea about how it looks like for your child.
Yeah. So thank you, Lena, for that explanation. So really answering that one person's question regarding homework for KG1, kinders, you will have maybe one homeschool connection a week. It does not take long because a quick communication with the parent and the child will write and sketch about it. First grade, you'll add just 5 math problems a day to that homeschool connection. Okay, let's see. Next question is registration acceptance initially given priority to students who live within the vicinity first and then open up to those that live outside the immediate proximity to SVA? Is there a certain distance that affects it? No. So our registration, we're actually a commuter school. As a private school, we're a commuter. Our parents come from all over the Bay Area. So it's not really based upon where you live. Our registration really is based upon first come, first serve of who actually registers. So unfortunately, distance does not really affect our registration. Like I said, our parents come from everywhere. Sometimes parents meet up with other parents and they commute to school. What is the best way to contact you further? Oh, great question. If you go to our website, there's an email address, admin@svamail.com. Maybe Lena could put it in the chat box. So you could just email us and Lena and myself, we check the email all the time. We'll be more than happy to respond to you, or you could call us and Lena put our school's phone number, 408-243-9333. And we try to make ourselves very much so available to parents and whether meeting with you one-on-one and addressing any concerns you might have. What is the protocol when there is a COVID case in class? Oh, great question. So as a COVID designee, first I need to know if somebody's positive. Now, if I tested your child and I know they're positive, right away you are called to pick up your child. We put your child, we ask your child to sit outside because in an outdoor setting where there's fresh air, we call you right away to pick up your child. And then I let you know the exact isolation time period that your child must be in based upon the newest guidelines. Like I said, these guidelines are continuously changing. And then I must inform the class. So based upon the guidelines, I'll let you know whether your child has to quarantine or if they remain in class. So it really is dependent on the newest guidelines that is out there. But we do have open communication. We don't hide if there's a positive case. We never mention a student's name. By law, we're not allowed to. So we just say somebody has tested. We don't say if it's a staff or a student, but we do mention that there is a case. So we let the parents know what they need to do next. And I always tell parents, please don't ever hide if your child's a close contact, a household close contact, positive. We need to know in order to know the steps to take further in order to properly make sure everybody is safe. Let's see, wouldn't it be challenging to taught second grader the standards of third graders before learning second grade standards? So here, Lena, somebody's asking, isn't it hard if you have a second grader, you're teaching them third grade standards before they even got to any second grade standard?
It's a very good question. If you consider the standard is a topic, so think about it. All of these standards are different topics that were chosen. Say, you know what, in second grade, we're going to teach about, let's say, okay, matter. We're going to teach a unit about Native American. We're going to teach a unit about, and then they pick, okay, in third grade, we're going to pick this standard. And then, so it doesn't matter which grade it is, it's how you're delivering the information, how much in depth you're going into that. So this is why having this multi-level second, third, because you can even think about it, you might have a second grader who's advanced, more advanced than a third grader, or the opposite, you might have a third grader who is kind of need that extra review. So regardless which grade level your child is in and which ability level he has or she has, when we teach that topic to the highest kid in the class. And we provide that high in-depth content while we review and scaffold for the rest of the student, regardless if they are second graders or third graders. And this is when we can customize the teaching. Once, let's say we work with individuals, this is why now if you have a second grader who is being challenged with that, let's say it happened this year, we're teaching third grade standard. Well, because it's a topic. Because sometimes actually what we see more challenging for kids, not the standard per se, not the topic, it's sometimes the science, let's say, versus social studies. right? So you might have a student whose strength is science, or their strength is social study. They do better in one more than the other. It was never the topic. So language arts, it's taught as, if you recall, we mentioned in the beginning, in integration. So whenever we're teaching the standards, let's say, of writing or reading, we're using that science or social study unit where the kids are exposed to the content, to the vocabulary, they have rich information, they're reading about it, they're, you know, chanting poetry, they're seeing graphic organizers. Now we're teaching them, let's say, the writing standards, right? How to, let's say, collect information and make it into sentences or paragraphs. So this is when we take that content and students are practicing that language arts standard. Now, when I'm working in a small group, and eventually I'm working one-on-one, let's say if I'm working with a second grader and I look at their writing and I see it, well, it's a first grade standard. How can I make it second grade? And this is where I integrate these language arts standard. Now, there are certain things I introduce to all the class when, let's say, I take that poem and let's say I highlight adverbs. Well, adverb is a standard that's not introduced until third grade, but I'm exposing my second graders to it when they are in second grade. So the kids are introduced to the content, but they start implement. If they're ready for it, that's fine. If they're not ready for it in second grade, language arts is always used, because you're not gonna stop using adverbs when you're in fourth grade, right? So the idea is language arts standards are introduced regardless which grade level. They're introduced through the content area of science or social studies, and then through whole class they're introduced and listening and seeing how it's used. And then when you're working with them one-on-one and editing their work, this is when you focus specifically, okay, that student is a second grader, let me focus on the second grade standards and make sure they get it. If they're already there and they're strong in it, this is maybe when I can say, okay, you know what, we also learned some of the third grade standards. Let me make sure they got the idea of, or the concept of adverb. This is where it allows us that flexibility to customize the teaching and make sure differentiate it. So all students are hitting the standards that are needed per every year.
Thank you, Lena. The next question is, what is the percentage of new English language learners in kinder? What is the approach to those students? And do you have demographics data for the classes? I do have the demographic data for the classes. Unfortunately, I don't have it on me right now. So the person, I believe it's Vahbi, who's interested, I'd be more than happy to meet with you later to kind of go over that in general. When it comes to kindergarten, no, we typically see in any given year, maybe 1 to 2 students who come to us with no English language background in kindergarten. And just how Lena's talking about our approach to those students, because they're so immersed in the language, little by little, they start to pick it up. Like Lena mentioned earlier, our students are seated in teams, and we have a strategy with our GLAD where every student is numbered off 1 through 4. When it comes time to avoid the same student always answering the question, the shy kid or the English learner never answering, we actually we have sticks where we randomly say, person number 2 from this team, you're the reporter. You might be the English language learner in that classroom. Guess what? Your team members are there to support you, to help you answer. Also, because of the way we teach and how everything comes to life in front of the students, the graphic organizers, the pictorials, where there's lots of pictures, color coding, chunking, everything is written in front of the students, and the kids repeat the academic language. So they see the visual, they repeat the language, they see how it's written. The students actually end up picking up the language quite fast because of our instructional model. Let's see, how does SVA handle registration for international children with parents who are moving from overseas for work in the middle of the school year? I think for that person, I believe, Habiba, we could talk later. We have had students move to California from internationally, and we've helped them through the process. I do want to let you know that if you're coming midway through the year, we need to make sure there's availability in that classroom, that it's not waitlisted. If we do have availability, we'll walk you through that process of how to register your child. And then in terms of assessment, SVA, I know there's some private schools that make students take a test before they are admitted to the school. We don't do this here at SVA. We believe that it's our job as educators to teach your child, but there's some exception. If your child is on a current IEP or a 504 plan, we do want parents to be honest with us that they are on an IEP or 504 plan. It's not because we will necessarily deny your child. We have worked with many kids on IEPs and 504 plans. Lena and myself have worked with parents helping their child to get their child an IEP plan with the district that they live in. We simply like to know ahead of time so that we know that based upon your child's needs, can we accommodate and do we have the resources to help your child meet their goals that are listed on the IEP or 504 plan? So that is something, so in terms of assessment, no, we don't assess, but we do like that open conversation. So you talk to us about your child and we let you know what our school offers, our resources that we have to see how well we can accommodate your child. In fall 22, which grade level will be taught in KG first? Actually, within the kinder first, I do know that the teachers, they take a look at both the kinder and first grade science and social studies standards, and they actually divide it up over a 2-year academic, 2 years. So some teachers in some of the grades, we actually have, let's say they'll do second grade standards 1 year, third, and the K ones, they took a look at all the kinder and first grade standards, and they divided it up amongst 2 years. I do want to mention for our kinder first, this is the one exception to the rule. When it comes to language art, they actually have a specific time for language arts where the kinders are separate than the first graders and they have 2 teachers in that classroom. The reason why we actually separate it for specific language arts, this is where it comes to phonics, is because our kinders are learning their ABCs and phonics and reading, and our first graders already know that. So there's a certain time during the day where we'll actually have our kinders with one teacher and our first graders with another teachers for a specific part of the language arts curriculum, specifically when it comes to phonics and reading, because our first graders are definitely more advanced than our kinders and they know a little bit more. When does the academic year start? And so our academic year starts in August. So like I said, I'm still working on this upcoming academic year for 22-23 calendar, but I'll give you an example. For this calendar year, we started August 23rd and our last day of school will be June 10th. And inshallah, you'll know soon when our new one is up. That is something I'm currently working on. Will classes continue for other students when there is a positive case in the class? And then will positive case students have an opportunity to remotely attend the class via Zoom? Okay, so first regarding Zoom, yes, this year from the beginning of the year, we have allowed students to Zoom into the classroom if they are sick, in quarantine or isolation. They were not allowed to Zoom in if the parents decide to take them on vacation. That's not acceptable. That's not an excuse reason for not being in the classroom. But since August when we started, if the child happened to be positive, in quarantine, isolation, or sick for a different illness and where they should not be coming to school, they have been Zoomed into their classes since the beginning. Will classes continue for other students when there's a positive case? So this, it really just depends on the guidelines. So in the beginning of the year, when the guidelines came out, if there was a positive case in the classroom, for middle school students who are fully vaccinated, they could stay in the classroom. For those who are not, they had to go home and quarantine and get Zoomed in. For all of our elementary students, they all had to be Zoomed in because vaccination was not available. Once vaccination opened up for our 5 and up, if you were fully vaccinated, you were allowed to stay. If you were not, you had to quarantine. Right now, there are newer guidelines currently that the state had just put out due to the huge surge in the Omicron variant. Right now, all classes are allowed to remain open, even if there were a positive case, unless the child has symptoms or they're positive themselves, but there's a condition. You must test every week, all students. And that is currently what the newer guidelines are that we are following as a school. So all our students, and this is just updated about a week and a half ago or so, all students are allowed on campus. And right now it's regardless of your vaccination status. And this goes into effect up until February 11th, when they said there might be an adjustment to the guidelines. So this is a new rule that just came out with this surge in the Omicron. How do you grade students with 2 different levels in the same class? Generally, older students at younger ages can perform better. Nina?
Yes, so from experience, yes, maybe in general you might think this, but again, we're following specific criteria and a rubric for the reading assignment, or it could be the the unit of study. So it could be science or social studies. Sometimes you'll be surprised that actually second grader can do better than third, because we are teaching them using different resources that they have available for them. So far, this is why we've been following kind of this model for like 20 years now. We did not see that big discretion. Now at the end, we do have report cards. Okay, a report card for a second grader is different than a report card for a third grader. A second grader report card has the standards for that grade, and the report card for the third has their own. So this is where maybe you might see where we kind of evaluate them based on the grade level and based on the standard that they need to hit by that time. But as we're working with them, it's subhanAllah interesting how we see it, that depending sometimes on the interest of the child. If they're interested in the science, then you see them do better. Maybe a second grader will do better than a third grader. But we always keep in mind their grade level, where they're at. Let's say sometimes we see a difference if the student was at our school the year before compared to a student who's joining us from another school. So we will see as teachers different factors that affect how well a student will perform on a specific unit test.
Thank you, Lena. Next question is, do you have a policy that relates to cartoon or animation such as Disney or superhero characters, themed clothing or accessories? So we don't show Disney cartoons, or we really try not to have Disney books or any of that in general at the school. We try to avoid it. However, Disney, so our students do wear uniform, but we do have some dress up days, usually once a month. On some of the dress up days, I'll give you an example. Let's say a character dress up day that happens to be with their favorite book. Yes, there are some students who say, Elsa's my favorite character, and they'll come dress up as Elsa. For that one day, we do allow that. But in general, they're in uniform, so it's not really an issue no, we don't necessarily have Disney books lying around or encourage it, nor do we show the movies. But you will find students on certain dress up days, they say, oh, this goes with my character, and they came dressed up as that character or that superhero. Because we also have superhero dress up days. And so we do have some students who enjoy dressing up as a superhero, maybe like Spider-Man. But once again, that's I'll say maybe twice a year, because the other dress up days would be, let's say, international cultural dress up day, sporty dress up day. So it doesn't quite match that theme. How long would it take to receive the registration status for new students? Actually, as soon as it doesn't take long, as long as all the paperwork is filled out and you have inputted your financial agreement, it's pretty quick. Don't you agree, Lena?
Yeah, and if I may add, also, like, it's very important because you have to fill out kind of the registration form. There are the basic information about the child. There are different forms that you need to provide, let's say birth certificate, immunization, tuition agreement form, different forms you sign in, but also in addition, the tuition. Unless the tuition is paid or there's an agreement how it's going to be paid, your enrollment is not considered complete. Because we want to make sure be fair to all parents, because we cannot say just because you completed the forms and you put in all the information, phone number, etc., but you did not, let's say, turn in the tuition compared to another parent who's ready with all that, well, they will get priority. So this is when you will see you get a response from us as accepted or still pending.
All right, I believe that's the last of the question. Unless anybody else has a question, they'd like to unmute themselves or put in the chat, Lena and I will be more than happy to answer them. Or maybe Lena and I did just such a great job. All right, well, if there's no other questions, let me just stop sharing our screen. Honestly, on behalf of SVA, we truly thank you for coming. And inshallah, we look forward to hearing from you soon. Please feel free to reach us if you'd like a tour of the campus or have any further questions or concerns. Lena and I will be more than happy to address them. All right, so on behalf of SVA, thank you so much, everybody, and you have a wonderful evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.